Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, today we're talking about nose breath and why we are an evolutionary studio and why we teach evolutionary practices. So, we'll talk about this idea specifically in relationship to our breath. So, I want you to think about if you've ever been taught or told to take a big breath in, to take a deep breath in. Or if you've ever been taught, take a big breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Yes. And I have taught this. I used to teach this way. And I am so grateful to the teachers that I have now and for the resources that are available now of studies that have been done to show us, to tell us that this way of breathing is not a functional way to breathe. This isn't how we should be breathing all of the time, especially in our movement practices. So this is where we can take what we've been taught, question it. We invite questions. I invite you to ask me questions. I invite you to ask yourself questions, ask questions of the things that we're being taught so we can help to evolve these practices, so we can have our own discernment, so we can honor, something doesn't feel just quite right. I don't just need to take on what the teacher says just because we think that we need to. It's like, let's have our own sovereignty in these practices and learn and evolve them together. There's some things that are so amazing about taking information from tradition, and some of that continues to be very true and real when we take it into our own lived experience, when the science, kind of comes in, the Western science, the now science comes in and, starts to question those things. And actually we come through with the same sort of idea that is very helpful and beneficial for our overall health and vitality. But what we're inviting here at Alter is that not all of those things that have been passed down have been perpetuated in the movement world and the breathing world. So we'll just specifically say, the movement and yoga world, maybe, those things need to be questioned and actually looked at and explored in some deeper ways. So we'll, again, layer this into this awareness of our breath. So if we're looking to help the diaphragm to move in the way that it's designed to move, we need to be breathing in and out of our nose. So this is just the one plain, simple invitation that we invite into all of our classes, is to remember our nose breath. And we're looking to take a nose breath that is quiet, that your neighbors can't hear, that maybe you can barely hear, not an exaggerated breath. There's times to do specific breathing practices, which we do, but I'm talking about just the daily lived experience, the mostly like moment to moment time on your practice, nose breath. And why? The nose breath, when we're breathing in and out of our nose, this helps to move our diaphragm, plain and simple, which is what we want to be happening inside of our trunk. So there's lots of different layers. We continue to dive into this in a variety of ways in the other movement practices, breathing practices, meditation practices. We take deeper dives into this topic throughout the year. But for now, just layering on to what you're learning with us. And the takeaway is to start to notice when and if you're breathing in and out of your nose. And when you notice this isn't happening, to shift into a quiet nose breath. The other layer you could be starting to pay attention to is noticing holding patterns. So you could be breathing in and out of your nose, but you might be holding tension in certain parts of your torso that isn't allowing the movement of your diaphragm to be at its sort of full capacity. So that's another layer you could be adding on, is noticing holding patterns in your trunk, in your belly, in your core. As well as when and if you're breathing in and out of your nose. And if you're taking, classes in other settings, I would encourage you to consider throughout the bulk of the practice, if you're not in a specific breathing practice, but just when you're moving and no one's cueing your breath to do anything specifically, but to stay with your nose breath and to take the deeper dives with us if you're curious, the deeper reasons why we want to, we're going to we continue to learn about our breathing mechanics and the chemistry of the breath and why this is important. But this first layer, the understanding that we're here looking to evolve the practices that need to be evolved to support our health and vitality for all of us here that are living in the lives that we're living. We're not, the monks living in the ashram. We're here. We have families, we have friends, we have businesses, we have work, we have desires, we have adventures we want to take, and how our movement practices, our breathing practices, our meditation practices supporting who we are right now, right here and now, with the goals and intentions we have for our physical bodies and beyond that, for our souls, for our minds, for our nervous systems, for all the parts that make us who we are. So thank you for exploring these things. I'm excited to continue with you all, and we'll see you very soon.